ladies, welcome back. I thought it'd be fun today. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily fun, but I thought it would be interesting. I get asked quite often actually, what are my favorite tools in my kitchen, what I use the most when I'm baking. And I also get it a lot from my kids' friends who are starting their first house, like what they should buy. So I thought I would jump on, do a quick video of my top 10 items that I think you need to be successful in baking, that you'll need them in your kitchen. You have to remember when you're baking is a science. Cooking is fun. You can taste and sample, and if you want more salt, more pepper, more wine, more butter, you can do that. But with baking, you need to have some years under your belt because it is a science and it's really important in most cases to follow the recipe. So, my favorite top 10 items in my kitchen, my drawers are full, there's 10 million little gadgets. All of these come in different brands, styles, and shapes. I've picked out what my workhorses are, what I use day in and day out. So number one is a really good set of measuring cups. These were from Williams-Sonoma. They're stainless steel. I absolutely love them. I actually have two sets, and you'd be surprised when you're baking a lot. It's not a bad idea to have two sets, but you know, when you're starting, you can start with one. The second item are your teaspoons. So you have a set of 4 with these. You have a quarter, a half, a teaspoon, and a tablespoon. And again, you're gonna use these for the smaller measuring. They're really important, and it's nice when they come on a ring because they're always together. I used to have a set that was separate, and I was constantly looking for one because it got misplaced in the drawer. So that's that set. Next off is an offset spatula. This little baby is a workhorse, and he's old. He's got a bend in him. I'm probably due for a new one. But the offset is really nice. If you're trying to ice brownies in a pan or a cake in a pan, you need the little bend to be able to get into the corners properly. I have a large 2-inch spatula I use all the time as well, but if I was to pick one, this little guy would be it. I will try down below to link all these products too, so you can find the exact ones. Next, graters. I have an assortment of those, but if I was to pick one, it would probably just be this size. This is just a nice size grate. So if you were zesting a lemon, a lime, anything like that, it's got a great handle, and you can lay this side on the bowl and zest across. I have this one, which is a little bit coarser, and then I have this one that actually makes almost like shavings. Any of them are fine. This happens to be my favorite, and I use it quite a bit. Next off, I just have a sweet spot for whisk. I don't know, there was a show years ago, it might have been Barefoot Contessa or someone, and she had just a really cool crock and had all these different whisk in it, and I always thought it was really fun, so somehow I acquired quite a few whisk. This is the one that I would suggest getting. It's very versatile. It's a great size for just about anything. If you're trying to make a custard for ice cream and you don't want your eggs to cook, if you're doing a 7-minute icing, this is great. But again, it's a stainless steel. I don't buy very much plastic. I'm not a big fan of it. For the longevity and just being timeless product, stainless steel is really good. My favorite little kitchen utensil, the one that I have worn out multiple times. I probably have 5, 6 of these now. 3 at least in this size, and then I have the ice cream scoop size. So I use these all the time, and I'll tell you, once you have one, you'll wonder why you didn't have it before. And if you're new starting off, you just want to start off on the right foot. But when you're cooking cookies or you're trying to get dough out, this gives you equal quantity. You'll see where people use spoons, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you'll have uneven edges. So you'll have a cookie that has crispier edges, softer centers, a larger cookie, a smaller cookie. This just gives equal proportions when you're scooping the dough, and it really helps with uniform cookies. And I think they're also really pretty when they're all about the same size. I use the larger ice cream scoop when I'm making cupcakes. It's great to get the dough out of the bowl and have all the same size cupcakes, which is important as well. So there's that. Next off is my trusty True Test thermometer. It's something that you don't use all the time, but when you need it, it's critical. So I really suggest getting one early. I like the stainless steel that protects this. The old-fashioned ones are glass, and it's easy to hit those, crack those. Are also really hard to clean. So this one's great. They have a sliding rule back here, and you're gonna hook this onto your pot. You never want the bottom of the thermometer to touch the pot because it doesn't give an accurate temperature. And so you just get this off an inch or two off your pot, hook it on the side, and it'll show you the temperature. And it's really important. It wasn't long ago, maybe a month ago, I was making a video on how to make strawberry jam. And I'm like, oh, I don't need to get my thermometer out. And it needed to get to 165. And the truth is, I just whizzed through it. It didn't quite get to 165. It probably was like a 155, 160. And so my jam was more of a syrup for ice cream. It was still delicious, but I would have been happier if it set up. So invest in a good thermometer. Next is a juicer. This little tool, again, it may not be one you use a lot, but once you get in the habit of keeping your lemons and limes in the refrigerator, they're just handy. And honestly, they can kind of get a little old, a little soft on the outside, but they're still really good for juicing. And there's night and day difference in a recipe when you use real lemon juice as opposed to what's called real lemon juice in the bottle. It's a concentrate, has a lot of chemicals added to it, and it does not have that delicious lemon flavor. And lemon just, it enhances flavors, and I use it a lot. I add it with my chicken parm and different things. So I would get a good juicer. This one's metal, and again, you want a good sturdy one because you're really trying to get the last juice out of those. So that is a handy dandy tool to have. And last is my little pastry blender. This is a vintage one. I have several. This one belonged to my grandmother, Josephine. It is great when you're doing pie dough. It takes the flour and the butter and breaks it up into that little coarse sand texture or a little pea gravel, whatever you're going for. But it has the different times. Some people use a fork. I just find this to be a lot easier with these motions in the bowl. So those are my top 10. If I was to add one more in, which I know I'm only supposed to have 10, I was gonna add this in my little small appliance video, but it's a good scale. Again, it goes back to the fact that baking is science, and a good scale so your measurements are the weight that is being requested in the recipe, and it keeps you consistent every time, and that sets you up for success. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it was informative. I will try to link everything down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.